everyone, happy Monday and happy International Women's Day. Woohoo! My name is Onita, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, hello, how's it going? Like I said, it is International Women's Day today, and I thought I would do a video talking about the best books written by female authors I have read so far. I have about 10 on here. Also got honorable mentions I want to just quickly mention as well, but first of all I want to get started on the best ones first. So let's get on to it, and before I do, these are in no particular order the best books. I have about 10 here. Let's get on with the video. And before we get started, yeah, look, if the lighting does not look good, it's because one, it's in the morning. If I were to do this video in the afternoon, it would not be looking like this, but I want to get it done and out of the way this morning. And it's the weather's temperamental as well. It's cloudy, it's sunny, it's sunny, it's cloudy. You get the idea. Let's get started. First one is a poetry collection, and this is a recent one. It was published in 2020. It actually does not say. Okay, let me have a look at the back. Yeah, last year. It was published last year, and that is Homebody by Rupi Kaur. I don't know how you say her last name. Kaur. I'll just say Homebody. This would have to be one of my favorite poetry collections. And I think she wrote this in the time of COVID. Well, we are still in COVID, but also in when she was in quarantine. So it says here, after feeling disconnected for so long, my mind and body are finally coming back to each other. So it's just about feelings of being locked up and all that kind of stuff like that, and just finding yourself again after feeling lost. What is the word I'm looking for? Can't have tell it's Monday because I can't find words for the life of me. Oh, out of all the poetry I have read, this is the one I feel most connected to. There are definitely quite a few here that really speak to me, and I'm a fan of this author, I really am. And the next one is one that deals with race and injustice, and is a movie adaptation on this as well, and that is The Help by Kathryn Stockett. I love this book so much. I said it deals with what it's like to be a black maid raising up white kids and all that kind of stuff in Jackson, Mississippi in 1962. Just about these women, and Skeeter, who wants to help these women tell their stories because they've been silenced and prejudiced and all that other kind of stuff. I just love it. The voices of the characters are very distinct, and it's just a really great book. I really love it. And the movie is good as well. The most iconic scene for me in this book, and probably even in the movie, the chocolate pie scene. You know which one I'm talking about. You know which one I'm talking about. She didn't have one slice, she had two. And this next one is one of my favorites. I think I read this last year. Or was it this year? No, it was definitely last year. And that is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. And it's basically about a deadly virus that touches down in North Carolina. No, yes. A virus that touches down in North America, and it's kind of like a dystopian kind of novel. And 20 years later, Kirsten, who was an actress in the Traveling Symphony, she and her crew, cast members, they perform Shakespeare in the settlements that have grown up since the apocalypse, and then her newly hopeful world is threatened. I just love this book so much. It is one of my favorites, and just look at this cover. Isn't it stunning? And I wasn't aware of how spot on the virus would be, because I read this in the time that COVID kind of happened in the early stages, and I was kind of a little bit scared at how accurate it was. Like, the idea of the Traveling Symphony is to travel around to these, what are they called again? Settlements. And it's to basically give people hope. It's very vivid, very imaginative. The timeline in the book is before the virus, during the virus, and after the virus, when we see them in the settlements. And like I said, it's Basically a book about hope and humanity and coming together to find each other again. And it has even though it's quite, well, disturbing, as it says in the blurb at the front here, it's quite disturbing in how accurate it depicts viruses and how fast it can travel. But it's also, like, despite its pretty spot-on depictions and stuff like that, it is a very hopeful book. A very hopeful book. And, like, she is one of my favorite authors. And I want to read another book from her, The Glass Hotel or something like that. And I will definitely get around to doing it. And the next one is a thriller. And it's the author of Gone Girl. Gone Girl is not on these lists, not even an honorable mentions. I actually like the movie better than the book. But the book is very close to the book. But because I watched the movie first, I like the movie a little bit better. I actually do want to reread it. I want to do a video talking about the books I want to reread. This one is, and one I recently read last year, and it made the top books of 2020, I believe. And that is Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Like I said, it's a psychological thriller. I know there's a TV show on this book, like a TV show adaptation about Camille. It's about her family tragedy. She has to go back to her hometown to investigate the disappearance of 2 little girls. And in order to solve the case, she has to unravel the puzzle of her own past if she has to survive the homecoming. Because where the disappearance of the 2 little girls is at is in her hometown. I know there's trigger warnings in here. I know there's one for self-harm, probably even alcohol abuse, but I definitely know that self-harm sticks out in my head the most in terms of trigger warnings. It was so dark, so unsettling. I read this quite quickly for my reading pace, and I really enjoyed it. Just the disturbing characters in here. Like, Gillian Flynn is a master of dark characters that you just can't help but like. And I want her to write more books. I've read nearly all of her books. The only book I have not read yet is Dark Places. And I know she has a TV show out. She wrote a TV show. It's called Utopia. It's on Amazon Prime, and I really, really, really want to watch it because it actually looks pretty good. Yeah, this is a really good book if you like fast turning pages, weird characters you think are bad but are not, and yeah, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I've made a bit of a discovery. I've noticed that most of the books, I guess you could say probably half of the books on here are adaptations, because this next one that I'm going to talk about is an adaptation, and it's a classic, and that is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. So it's basically about gang life. There's 2 gangs, the Socks and the Greasers, and they both have like different ideas of what a fun time is. Something happens, I can't remember what happens. I think one of the gang members did something to one of the other gang members or something like that, and of course, war, like gang war breaks out and all that kind of stuff. And oh my god, there really isn't much plot to it. It's more character focused, and it's just, I loved it so much. It was so good. I was a little worried that there really wasn't going to be much to it in this book, other than just gangs and death and violence and all that kind of stuff, but it is much more than that. It's about finding family when your blood family are basically pieces of shit to you. When you don't have a good home family, you find one yourself, and very big themes of found family in here and what it means to be a family, and just trying to get yourself out of sticky situations. And it was the last few pages of it, the last little chunk of it was absolutely beautifully written. So stunning. I think this is her only novel. Fantastic, fantastic. Loved it so much. And before I leave, if you like character-focused books and you just love absolutely beautiful writing and themes of found family, then this one is for you. The next one is a sequel to a very popular classic sci-fi dystopian book, and also has a TV TV show adaptation to it. This one I hear the sequel doesn't, but it's the sequel to The Handmaid's Tale, and that is The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. Like I said, it's a sequel to Handmaid's Tale. Oh my god, what happened to the pages? No! Got creased. Okay. I just loved it. I actually love this more than the second one. This is the second one, idiot. I love this a bit more than the first one. I don't have anything else to say other than that. It's basically bringing down Gilead. That's all I can say. Did it... but see, the thing with the first one is... What was it about the first one? I guess I really probably didn't... It's not that I didn't understand it, it's just the writing was a little bit different to what I thought it was going to be. I knew that we weren't going to see, like in the book, I knew that we were not going to see perspectives from Moira and the Waterfords. And what is June's husband's name? I don't remember his name, but we don't really get those perspectives from him. It's The Handmaid's Tale. It's basically like written letters. The way I can describe it is like found footage, but in book form, kind of thing. Like there's notes that these academics from years in the future have found, and they basically, I don't want to say dissect. All I can say is found footage in book format. This one is a little different. This actually feels like a fictional book. You get 3 perspectives. One from Aunt Lydia, one from a woman living in Canada, and one from a young woman who I think is Offred's daughter, who is living in Gilead and preparing to become a wife or one of those cooks. I really need season 4 of Handmaid's Tale. It's coming out very soon, and I'm very happy about that. And so yeah, bringing down Gilead, and it was really good. I loved it, and now that I understand a little bit more on how The Handmaid's Tale is written, I want to reread The Handmaid's Tale. So, yeah, this one's a really good one. And did The Handmaid's Tale really need a sequel? Probably not, but I felt like The Handmaid's Tale left on a bit of a cliffhanger, and I just love this more than the first one. That's my opinion. And the next one is The Book of Longings by Sue Monk Kidd. This is a fictional retelling of Jesus, and if Jesus had a wife, her name would be Anna. And she's a writer, she has a brilliant mind. She's not really allowed to write, like being from this time, you can imagine. And this is a historical fiction. The thing I love about historical fictions is the detail that is put into it. I don't take everything, like every word written in here as factual, because in the back the author does say that it is a fictional... There was a weird noise happening over there, I don't know what that was. Anyway, it's a fictional retelling of Jesus, basically, and what... Yeah, a fictional retelling of Jesus and life, and about what life was like back then. There were things that this author taught me about, like, Jesus, basically, and life in Israel and Jerusalem, and the women in here are very strong women. I'm speechless in a way, but I don't know what to say about this book because I really loved it, and it's one of my favorites. What else can I say? Oh, this is what I was going to say. This author does such an incredible job and has such really great attention to detail, because like I said in the best books of 2020, I have been to a Catholic school, but I never really knew much about Jesus other than, oh, he sacrificed himself for his people. And he did sacrifice himself for his people. It's just, you get so much more in this book. And his historical fiction, the attention to detail about things is amazing. And you get like you don't get little anything. I don't know what I'm talking about, other than I don't know what to say because I just love this book so much. Female characters, about using your voice, and it was really great. I want to read more from this author. We are in the home stretch. I have 3 last ones to talk about, and the third last one is one of my favorites, and she's the author of The Night Circus, which is BookTube's darling, basically. and that is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. It's like a fantasy, whimsical, very dreamlike book. Zachary stumbles across a strange hidden book in his university library, and it leads him on a quest like any other. When he's a little boy, he finds a door with like a magical door with a strange little symbol on it, and he was looking at it quite curiously, thinking, that looks weird, odd, and before he gets a chance to investigate further and basically walk through the door in a way, something happens and the door evaporates, it disappears. Later on, like I said, he finds a book in his library. He finds that, the pages in the book entrance him with their tales of lovelorn prisoners, lost cities, and nameless acolytes, but they also contain something impossible, a recollection from his own childhood. And so he has to find out what the hell is going on. Why is this book? Why does this book have events in my childhood, in my life? And he goes on an investigation. He has to solve the puzzle of why this has happened. And it's very whimsical, very dreamlike. And I think it has a very important message in here. And there's like different stories. There's like stories within stories as well. So you get like a story that was most likely would have been in the book that Zachary found, and then you get the actual story of Zachary finding out what the hell is going on. And like I said, very dreamlike, whimsical, one of my favorites. The themes in this book, it's basically about, well, this is just my opinion anyway. To me, it seems like that the Starless Sea is in trouble because people are not interested in learning other people's stories through themselves. They're too interested in the technologies and stuff like that. So that personal contact that you get from people is going to be non-existent, because instead of having that personal connection with someone, it's too digitalized, if you know what I mean. Yeah, and there's like a sword, a butterfly, no, that's a bee actually, not a butterfly, and a key. So there's the guardians, then there's the ones that gets the tail, and then there are the ones that, so there's different symbols and different keys and stuff like that that depict what, like if you had to walk through the door, that would have been your job. You would have been the protector of these stories. You would have been the one seeking out the stories and writing them down and putting them in the libraries and stuff like that. It's amazing. I loved it. And I really want to read it again very soon, actually. Last two books. First one being Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I'm up to the second book and I'm just loving it so far. And I'm also up to season 4 in the show as well, and again, loving it so far. It's about Claire. She's a modern day woman in 1950s, 40s, 50s, and she's on her second honeymoon with her husband Frank. She then hears about these standing stones of Craignadoon, and she ends up going there herself just to have a wander around and to press some plants into her plant press because she likes to collect herbs and stuff because she's a healer, as well as later on becoming a surgeon. She puts her hands upon the stones and she travels back to 1750 something, 1740 something, 18th century High Scotland, in the Highlands of Scotland. And it's a historical fiction, and it deals with important events that happen. And the one I'm up to now, book 2, even throughout book 1 is basically, I honestly think I should have reread the book. Even though I remember a lot about the first book, but I feel like I should have reread it or something like that. And yeah, the first one is basically about her getting used to the idea of living in that time. I know there's more than that. Let me just tell you about the second book anyway. The first book is historical fiction. It's like with the rest of the books in the series. And actually the first 3 books deal with Culloden, and this is what I was trying to say before. Deals with important events in time, so like the Battle of Culloden, where the Scottish people try and, now I'm not a historian or anything, so if I'm getting things wrong, I apologize. The Scottish people, they battle the English, who have been treating them pretty horribly in the Battle of Culloden, which doesn't happen until book 3. And book 2 is basically about trying to stop that from happening. And the attention to detail that the author puts in these books is just astounding. It's incredible. It really truly is. I loved it. It's becoming one of my favorite series of all time. And if you love historical fiction, it is romance. I should have said that. It's historical fiction romance. But it doesn't skimp on the historical events in life that have happened throughout the world. And I can't wait to finish the rest of the books in the series. Lucky Last, and it's a series, fantasy romance, my new obsession, and that is from Blood and Ash and A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, the 2 books for now in the Blood and Ash series. And it follows Poppy, who is a maiden. She can't be looked upon, talked to, experienced pleasure, or touched. Did I say touched? Anyway, she has to ascend in order to ensure the future of the kingdom. There's a new guard, his name is Hawke. He's there to make sure that she ascends. He makes her question everything, even though she's already been questioning these things previously, but he just exacerbates them in a way. Fantasy in the first one is a little bit lighter, but I feel like the fantasy doesn't pick up until the second one, where you get to see more world building, more of the history. And it is essentially a vampires and werewolves book. I loved it. Can't wait for the third one. Don't want to talk too much about this series because we want to do a book talk about it. But I loved it. Love the characters. And it's incredible. I want the third book right now. Okay, let's get on to the honourable mentions now. I will warn you. Let me put this out of the way. There are more honourable mentions than there are like actual best books. Nothing wrong with these books at all. I love these books. It's just that the books I mentioned in the best like books written by women, I just thought were a little bit better than these ones. So I'm just going to quickly, oh, don't fall down. Anyway, I'm going to quickly go through them. First one is a historical fiction, People of the Book by Geraldine Brooks. A thriller, psychological thriller, The Rumour by Leslie Cara. Gothic horror is the next one, and that's Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. A fantasy, and that is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This one is a series. I do have the rest of the books in the series, I just haven't got them still on my bookshelves, basically is what I'm trying to say. And it's the Newsflesh series, the first one being Feed. Well, actually it's just the Newsflesh series by Myra Grant. The second one is a very popular psychological thriller series, You by Caroline Kepnes. The sequel, Hidden Bodies by Caroline Kepnes. I liked this one more than the first one. This one is the first book in a series and is a TV adaptation, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This one is literary fiction, I want to say. It's more character driven than anything, but the writing alone is really, really damn good. And that's Eileen by Otessa Moshfegh. This one is also a contemporary, I'm pretty sure, psychological thriller, mystery type of thing. And that's Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. This one is also a psychological thriller of sorts, and it has LGBTQ plus themes, and that is Far From You by Tess Sharp. And these ones are a series as well. I do have the second one on my bookshelves behind me, but I just like these ones a little bit more. And I think these are contemporary. I'm pretty sure it's Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Ooh, let me fall down. And Still Me by Jojo Moyes. I cried in both of these books. And the lucky last is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. And that is all, everyone. I got quite a few selections there, don't I? Quite a few books. More in the honourable mentions. So that's it. Do you have any books written by female authors that you think are the best of the best? Have you read any of these books I mentioned? If so, let me know which one and what you thought of them. So yeah, the more as the years go on, I will be reading more books by female authors, and I want this to be a yearly thing. It's time to put all these books back. fun. Anyway, like I said, let me know in the comments down below what your favourite books written by women are, if you've read any of the books that I have read or that I've mentioned in this book and what you thought of them. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!